right? And so our goal is to have more patients experience what we're capable of delivering. You're not going to be successful 100% of the times. There is no such thing as no. It's not yet. It's not yet. I'm not ready. It's not yet, right? So with that in mind, we have to understand mindsets of people first, right? One of the most important things that I still work on is what I call awareness. Awareness of who I'm looking at, who I'm talking to, and being an observer. I met the 3 kids for maybe 5 minutes at home. I mean, we spent 20, 30 minutes, but it was 5 minutes that Alfred's kids. And at dinner, I pegged every one of them, what their personality was, who, where they were going, and of course, they think I'm a psychic, but I'm not, right? There's no such thing as a psychic. It's observation. You can look at people, right? And a 10-minute conversation with you, I figured out you have 4 grandchildren, 4, is it 5? 5, 4 girls and a guy, right? And he talked about his family and his practice and his partners that are in the practice, and the 2 treatment coordinators. It took 10 minutes. It didn't take me a long time. And in that 10-minute period, we were best friends. I'm best friends with everybody, just one at a time. And I can do this. Now, there's people that I do this with that I only get to do this with once in a lifetime. And there's others that are in my life for a long time, and I get to know them deeper, right? And so how success occurs is understanding people. But you can't understand people unless you understand yourself. What is your mindset and what is their mindset? How many times, by the way, we've looked at a patient and said, they will never, ever, ever pay for this. And they pull out cash. How many times have we had that, right? It happens, right? We have this judgment of people. So the first thing you do is you judge, right? Now, by the way, that I have a tie. I'm going to remove it because I've been so used to not wearing ties. It's just this is bugging me a lot. So there's my tie. So what is the mindset? Like as I walk around, I'm looking at people, I'm making individual connections, right? I'll look at you and that's all that matters. And then I'll look at you and then I look at you. All that matters is that one little connection. But you have to understand yourself. What is your mindset? What are your filters? We all have filters, right? How many of you have heard, how many have children here, by the way, who tell you, I'm not good at something? I'm not good at math. How many have heard that, by the way? I'm not good at math. And Kaleem, my oldest, who's now 41, came home one day and he said, I'm not good at math. I said, oh, that's interesting, right? And so why do you think you're not good at math? Well, it's just, I'm not good at it. So my wife, who's the wiser of us, said, okay, can I see your books? And she sees doodles on it and and she's now saying, are you really paying attention? So there's this whole discussion going on. And that's when I said, okay, Kaleem, it's very simple. You're going to be good at math. Because we're going to partner up to be good at math. And I know that you want to spend a lot of time with me doing math. Right? And he's rolling his eyes, right? And I got him a tutor, and I sat with him, and I would look at all his tests, I would look at everything, and I just made it a priority. The kid graduated from Duke with an MBA. If I had accepted that he wasn't good at math, because if that was his story, what would happen? So I want you to write this down. We live our story. Who do we talk to the most, by the way? Ourselves. So what story are you telling yourself? What are you saying, right? I am really working hard, even to this day, to listen to the voice. And there are days that I want to hang out with myself. I'm so freaking negative. Right? Who is this guy in my head? Like, I just want to get rid of it, right? Because we live our story, and our story becomes our life. And so I'm very careful about what I tell myself. And so first, what are my filters? Can I get rid of the filters? What do I believe? And so what are the mindsets of the patients? The open wide. Why is it the open wide? Because that's how they see it. They want a cleaning, and we call it a cleaning. It's not a cleaning, it's a clinical appointment. What hygienists do is freaking unbelievably important. It is unbelievably important what hygienists do, because the hygienist has the most intimate relationship with the patient. They know each tooth, one tooth at a time. They could even name the teeth. That's Fred, that's Michael, right? Because we work with one tooth at a time with that patient, right? And so we have to change how we educate the patient. So what I would say to the patient, Mr. Manji, let me tell you about hygiene. Hygiene is incredibly important. It's a clinical appointment where we look after your mouth one tooth at a time, and that's an important part of this appointment, and the gums and all the stuff around it. And because we use our mouth a lot, there's minor conditions that occur, and between each visit, your conditions can get worse. So the second part, equally important, is the clinical exam, which is partially done by me and largely done by the dentist. So every time you come in, we're going to tell you what we see. We're going to tell you its progress. We're going to tell you what we would do if this was our mouth. Please don't think we're badgering you. It is what we are required to do by my license, but it is what I love to do because I want to see you have the best possible mouth your entire life. How long did that take me? How long did this take me? This part of it. 1 minute. 1 minute. And then each time I can remember what I said, Mr. Manji. Remember what I said the last time. So I'm doing exactly what I do, which is I'm going to go through your entire mouth. We're going to chart it again, because I'm going to see, is there any new conditions? Is there things that bother you? So I'm going to go through that process. But I'm going to remind them why they're there. I'm going to remind them, I'm going to tell them what it is that I see. Right? Because I'm waiting for the magic question. The magic question is, okay, so what should we do about it? They're not going to say, hey, let's do it. They're going to ask questions. Will my insurance company cover it? Right? And that's a beautiful question, because why? They're thinking about it. They're thinking about it, right? How much will it cost? That's a beautiful question. They're thinking about it. Of course they want to know how much it's going to cost, right? And so they have an open mind mindset, because we've created it. Insurance came out in 1967, by the way. At the time it was a $1,000 limit. In 67. The most expensive crown here was in Beverly Hills, around the corner, for $90. In 67. If insurance had kept up with inflation, that limit today would be $12,000. Right? So we created it, because when it came out, holy smokes, I don't even have to talk about the patient about value and money, because the insurance company will cover it. So we started doing things because it was covered without communicating its value, right? So it's the insurance value. We became an insurance value system. If it was covered by insurance, I will value it. If it's not covered by insurance, I won't value it, right? And so can we change that? Not for every patient. Can I change that for 1 out of every 5? Yeah. But I have to be consistent with it, with that belief the treasure is there. Those 3 things. The treasure is there, they will get it done, and it's worth the time. Right? That we're putting. And then the out of the chair. What's the out of the chair? How many of you, by the way, know this to be a fact? They'll be sitting in the chair, it's called the butt in the chair, and there's those signs down on it, all right? And the doctor will say X, and they'll say yes. They go to the front desk, and the front desk looks up in the computer or the chart and says, the doctor said you need an hour's appointment. Really? And you think, shit, they didn't tell the patient again. The fact is they did. But that 6-foot walk is a long freaking walk from the back to the front, and they forget. How many people agree with it, right? So if it's going to be a large case, how do I do that? I call it passing the baton. I'm going to say, I'm going to have Nancy come up because I want to share with Nancy, because Nancy is my treatment coordinator, or it could be somebody at the front desk. Share with Nancy what it is I see, because they will help you with the appointment and they will help you with the economics, with the finance. They'll make everything clear. So I'll bring Nancy in, and Nancy can recharge. Nancy, let me show you. Here's what's going on. Here's what we need to do. Here's why we need to do it. We're going to need an hour, and then we'll need a second appointment for half an hour, whatever it is. And I pass the baton. What do you think happens to case acceptance? 90%. 90%. Your cases up to $2,500 should be 95 to 100%. Your cases that are over $5,000 might be 25%. I'm happy with 25% because that tells me you communicated $10,000 worth of dentistry. I'm not concerned about 90%. I'm concerned about you have communicated it, they have understood it, and they've chosen to say not yet. But I only need one out of every 4 or 5 patients to say yes to a larger case. As long as they remain in the practice, I will do it one day. Or I will do it one day. So that out of the chair thing, remember, it's a long distance, assistants and clinicians. It's a long distance from the back to the front. And you've got to pass that baton. And it's hard to do that at the front desk because other people are listening. And we're in the COVID era, right? So how do we pass the baton in the COVID era? Even if you have to do Zoom internally, that's what you do. I have a client that has 3 hygienists. They'll basically be, and then they will Zoom into the office and say, they're here, but we want to not cross-contaminate, and they'll do their exams through Zoom in the early days of COVID. In the early days of COVID. So out of the chair, right? And the big one is I can't afford it. How many patients do you think can afford dentistry? None of them. Because what, do you think I'm dreaming about my dentist? I'm going to save money every day so I can go to my dentist? I'm not dreaming about that. I'm dreaming about the new car I want. I'm dreaming about the vacation. I'm not dreaming about you. You guys are nuts if you think I'm dreaming about you, right? That's not what I'm dreaming about. That's not what I'm thinking about. And so I can't afford it is a common, in fact, let's do a little survey. It's the people that have money that are the biggest pain. Yes or no? Yeah. It's the ones that don't have money somehow afford it. There's people, I mean, I was watching interviews of these great stars that we all love, and their mouth, I can't help but do it. It sucks, right? Somebody needs to get them a great dentist, right? And so the questions we deal with, will insurance cover it? How much will it cost? Do I really need it? What is most important? What would you do? How long will it take? Can we do this over time? Can we phase it in? Can we do some this year, some next year? Can we do it with my insurance plan because I've got a good plan, but maybe we do some this year in the plan and do some next year in the plan and do some in the year after? These are all questions that you get. And you got to create best practice of how to answer it. All right? So somebody says, do you accept my insurance? That's a great question, Imtiaz. It's a great question. I don't know the answer to that, but did your insurance company give you an exam before they gave you this plan? And they say, no. And you say, they didn't? And then you smile and say, they don't. See, insurance plan has nothing to do with your mouth. It's actually a contract. It's a defined benefit program. It's a contract. And if they pay some of it, God bless you. But most of the times they don't. It's just a contract. It has nothing to do with your mouth. So let's understand your mouth first fully. Decide what it is that you need to do, and then we'll spend the time understanding insurance and what the gap is, and then we'll deal with the gap. Is that okay? And by the way, when I go like this with you, most of you are starting to do this, right? You got to do this every time you speak because the patient goes into this mode. All right? All right? Okay, let's do a little exercise. I want you to watch me very carefully. Do this for me. Watch me carefully and put your hand up like this. This is going to take a while if you don't do it. I know you're dressed cool, but you're going to go with me, okay? All right. Now, even you, even you, yeah. And I know you have 5 grandchildren. This will help you. So if you take the tip there, do exactly as I tell you to do. Watch me carefully. Okay. Put it on your right cheek like this. The majority of you went here. Some of you went up here and said, maybe it's his English, But the majority of you went here. Yes or no? Right? There was some, like that young lady at the back that was listening and said, oh, it's the cheek. He's going up here. This is a trick. Because I set you up perfectly. I went like this. I told you about that. And I even gave you a hint. If you go like this, they go like this. I gave you a hint, and yet you fell for it. It's not a trick. When I look at any one of you, I start with the belief that you're going to implement. That belief, that energy, that commitment, that engagement, that confidence that this is what they need to do, that's what patients buy.